Greetings and welcome back to Smartwatch Ticks. We're a YouTube channel at smartwatchticks.com. You have seen the reviews of the i7E and the V19, and now you want to know which one of these awesome, amazing new technology devices you should buy. I'm going to go through that with you in just a second after I mention that both of these incredible bands are available at a deep discount, under 30 bucks, considerably now. First of all, the i7E, the ALFAWISE watch, is from Gearbest, and the BAKEEV V19 is from Banggood. I've got buying links for you in the show notes down below. Please use those links. It'll help us all out and get you these bands really quick. So, which is which and which do you need? Well, obviously you can see that this has got a bigger, flatter display. They're both about the same brightness. They'll be equally visible outdoors. They have different watch faces you can put on them, but this is kind of the sharpest one that I could find that gives you just the basic time and information. They both do ECG. That's electrocardiogram. That's your heart wave chart. This one does it simply by wearing it and putting a finger here when you're in the ECG mode. The opposite hand has to press that button, and when you do, it'll start recording that information for you. This one, a little bit different. You wear this one, and the electrodes are on the sides. So with this one on, you hold both sides with the opposite hand like this. Just a subtle difference, but they both seem to work really, really well. Now, depending on what your medical situation is, there could be different reasons for getting each of these. This particular one, the V19, works well with sleep apnea and those kinds of issues. If you have them, this might be something to consider. This one is got a lot of detail on the scatter plot that you learned about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch both of these reviews. There's deep detail on different conditions that could appear in the scatter plots, the diagrams that you get from wearing it. This uses the same scatter plot technology, and it shows a little bit different distribution of the normal scatter plot, but doesn't go into as much detail as this one does. But that's just information, and you can get that from watching these reviews. As far as producing the scatter plots on a daily basis, both of them work the same. They start at midnight, they acquire the data throughout the night into the morning, and then they keep all that data in here until you tether it to the app, and the app is where you see your scatter plot. So we're going to look at those in just a minute. Let's do a quick run through. I'm going to move this up a little bit easier to see the screen, so keeping these tags on so you can keep them straight. This one, you touch the screen and you slide the screen. It's a little tricky on what you do when. There I touched it, there I slide it, and you can see step stuff, and then you have to hit a back arrow. A little bit learning curve on how you get into things here. They're in big categories and then subcategories underneath all of that. But they twirl through like that back to here. This one, it's a one-button pony. You just press or you press and hold. There's the first page. Here you have all of your data on step count. Then you can go in, if you long press it, you can get your heart rate, blood pressure, and so forth. Sleep time is from the night before. Blood oxygen on here as well. Long press to start a run, and that's all it'll do is run. Then the ECG information and a stopwatch, and you're back to turning it off and back here. If you work out, get the i7E. It's much better performance-wise in terms of the activities that you can do for workout. And it's set up so once you put your age and information in it, you'll be able to tap to get in here. There we go. There's a run, there's cycling, and so forth. Once you put your birthday and age and height and all gender, all that kind of stuff in here, you'll be able to start an event like this, and it can track your heart rate, and it will prompt you if you're moving too slow, and I presume too fast. It has the flashing light going on down here that you just look at the color of the light, and you'll know what heart zone you're in. This is tremendous if you are active. This is great if you're sedentary. You don't need all that kind of stuff. The only thing this does, like I mentioned, when you're in a run, which is the only thing it can support right here, long press. It uses the pedometer inside to get you your step count, and it'll give you your heart rate versus time versus steps, distance, and calories. But none of this other exotic capabilities that you see for exercise workout in a variety of different things, including swimming. Sedentary or light exercise, not really into that. The V19's fine. The i7E definitely if you are active. If you're sedentary and plan on becoming active, this is a good one to coax you into it. It's not going to hard push you. You're not going to challenge yourself against other Olympiads in a competition, but you're going to get there, and you're going to be able to see your results on it as well. So let's take a look at the apps and see the differences. Now I've got a folder that's got all kind of different tethering apps for different kind of bands and watches that do ECG readings. We are specifically looking for the i7E for Zeroner. So you're going to look for and load up Zeroner, and this is what you get. You remember seeing that? And it's going to synchronize up to this one. While it's doing that, I'm also going to switch you to this other one. Now I've got a folder that's got all kind of different tethering apps for different kind of bands and watches that do ECG readings. We are specifically looking for the i7E for Zeroner. So you're going to look for and load up Zeroner, and this is what you get. You remember seeing that? And it's going to synchronize up to this one. While it's doing that, I'm also going to switch you to this other one, and it's called WOFIT. So WOFIT, when it loads up, is the one that's going to tether here to our V19. Now this one's a little trickier. Sometimes it doesn't come up properly. So it's going to see other things that I've got here, and then you have to go to where you see the V19, select it. It's going to say connecting, and eventually it's going to come up as well. So we're going to switch back now. This one should be connected. I'm going to go over, and it says it's synchronizing data. So again, here you've got a lot of capability with running and cycling and stuff, tracking all of that. When it comes to sleep time, the i7E is kind of light on that. You get this basic information and you get an overall score. Now, if you don't really care and analyze when you got up and went to the bathroom and those kind of things, this is fine, and just monitor the score, which is overwritten with that one talking to it right now. I got an 88 on this one. That's today. You changed the date, and there was 84 yesterday, and before that 74. Rise time, sleep time, awake time, basic stuff. And then you can actually evaluate your sleep, and it'll give you a little bit of information on sleep quality analysis. Not quite as robust as what you get when you use the WOFIT app with the V19. And when we scroll down here to sleep, you see it's got a whole lot more micro detail, like just about every second of your nightlife. When you go in here now, you have a lot more information. Fell asleep, woke up time, awake time. Your quality is listed as normal. It is not giving you a number. You can tap in here and slide along to see the exact time and duration of your specific thing. This is rapid eye movement, the top one, which is another level that you're getting of sleep information, as well as light sleep here, and then down at the bottom, the purple is deep sleep. You get all that stuff there, you get all this stuff here, and then you get to proportions of sleep segments, how many times you woke up, your sleep falling efficiency, and overall sleep efficiency, how long it takes you to fall back to sleep. And then what I really love about this app is more statistics. You got, your cumulative information over days and months and weeks, and very, very robust stuff. And that's related to sleep. So if sleep is something that you're concerned about, then you've got a really good analysis here with the V19 and the capabilities on this one. All right, let's look at the next thing. While on the topic of sleep, I'm going to stick with this now and come down here to blood oxygen, SpO2. This is your overall analysis of your blood oxygen level, but check out the cards here. This is where I'm saying if you've got sleep issues like sleep apnea, hypoxia, sleep active, cardiac load, these kind of things all show up in these little cards, of which any one of them you can go deeper and get the underlying data at specifically the times that things happened. Sleep-related stuff, the V19 is your baby. By contrast now, the i7E, it doesn't even do blood oxygen at all, and nothing about sleep apnea. But it does do this thing called fatigue index. Bad news is I have a real hard time getting this one to work. I've gotten a couple of readings, and it just gives you a general score, and it's calculated from your heart rate variability. The higher the score, the lower your fatigue is, the more relaxed you are. So you have it, but it's not all that usable, but it is available to you. What you do have on the i7E that's even more impressive, though, when you get here, once again, I'm looking in the health, and you see I've got heart rate, ECG, atrial fib test, blood pressure, fatigue, and then I loop back again. But when you get out of this and you go to the next page, this is this whole meditation section, and you're not going to find it related to the app at all. This thing is really cool. When you go into it, you find you have options to set up like free time, which is just free running, a 1-minute test, a 5-minute test, or a full 30-minute relaxation experience, I should call it. And when you do this, it's going to first do an HRV test at the beginning. Then it's going to guide you through a breath cycle for the time that you select. And then it's going to come back and repeat that HRV test. And at the end, it's going to give you a score. And from that score, it's going to tell you how effective your meditative practice is. Now, it's just showing you on here a symbol that's going up and down that you can breathe with. But you could do whatever your meditative practice is and just set it for that duration and let it do its thing. As long as you're wearing it, it'll do the pre-test, the period, and the post-test. You could be totally zenned out doing nothing, whatever you're doing. And then come back and look at it and find out what the number is. Adjust your practice accordingly, and the i7E can give you a sense of relaxation through a biofeedback mechanism of heart rate variability testing. Nice addition to this band. You don't see it in the app, but it is built into the band itself. Those are the basic things we've covered. Now, the major stuff you may be watching, don't you just hate it when somebody does that? They save it until the last. What about the doggone AFib plots? What about these things? The scatter plots. Tell me about it. All right. We're going to get scatter plots on both of these bands, and they appear to be both the same thing. So it's just kind of a way of whichever one you want to use. You could make that choice independent. But I will go quickly over it. It's covered in much more detail in the app. A scatter plot or Lorenz scatter plot. In this app, related to this band, you see these examples of medical conditions that would result in these kind of scatter plot images. And we don't know what this is, but the doctors do. They spent all those years of learning to figure this stuff out. So what you're doing is letting your body become a node to transmitting overnight data from your heart rate picked up by your wrist over to this app to generate night after night one of these little charts, all of them different, some of them similar, creating some sort of a pattern. Fortunately, mine seem to follow the normal sinus rhythm, but that may not always be the case. You, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, aunties, uncles, all of the folks that are over 50, this would be wise to at least be monitoring, and it's as simple as just putting the thing on. Okay, in the i7E, in the atrial fibrillation section is where you find these plots. On the other one, the WOFIT, that was a zero, Yeah, that one. This is the WOFIT one. You're going to go into heart rate variability, where you have this kind of a chart that's showing you from midnight until you wake up your HRV as dots on a line. I have no idea how to read that, but I presume somebody knows. Anyway, it looks really pretty, right? Get to it. Down here, Lorenz Scatter Diagrams, same as the scatter plots. Here it looks like this. You get a different plot every day, and it follows kind of this axis, but it could go off in all different ways, similar to what you saw from the results from this one, but we don't have a description of that, but we do have in the other app, or right here on this video. You can go back and look at them. They talk about the different forms that this scatter plot could take. It could look like a comet, which is sort of what mine looks like right there, and that's normal sinus rhythm. It could be a rocket. No idea what it means, but your doctor should know. Or all these other names they've given it. Fork, a stub, rice, torpedo. Oh, okay, you touch it, it tells you what it is. Very short and small, basically consistent head and tail, like rice, common among patients with arrhythmia, PVT in most cases. Oh, cool. I didn't accidentally touch it. There's a torpedo, and it shows you, again, what that could possibly mean. You're not doing self-diagnosis here, okay? You're just collecting information and providing that to your doctor so that your doctor can assess if you need any further on testing or medicine or whatever, okay? So a lot of that information is in here. Now, unfortunately, on most of these apps, when you download them, unless you are actually tethered to a band that can produce ECGs or HRVs or any of that, you don't actually get to look at all of this stuff, which is why it's nice to be able to see it on an app that's tethered to the band. But this is where your scatter plots are located for the V19 in the WOFIT app, as opposed to the Zeroner Health Pro app. So we've covered overall AFib. We've covered scatter plots. The only thing left really that you may be looking at discernment on which one to buy would be the Ecg charts. Here we go. We have no data here, and I cannot activate it from the app to test it on the band directly from here. So for this one, I have to put it on. Actually, well, you have to put it on no matter what. I should have these on anyway. Again, this has got the double barrel connection with the two little pin things here that snap in. Really holds on easy. I come into here. I touch it to start it, and then I got to slide through it. Then I go into health. Then I slide. Then I touch and hold ECG. And now it's starting. And fortunately, this is just a little 30-second test. It's going to be faster than if you had the V19. That one is 100 seconds. It looks like it's going to take, over a minute and a half to accumulate a working ECG chart. Good news is it's a really extensive, long, robust, full chart that your doctor could get a lot out of. Bad news is it takes quite a while of being patient and staying still. This one, only 30 seconds, and that felt like forever, right? It says read the report onto the app, and so from here now, it's done, but you've got to get it over here, so you got to get back to your main page, scroll down, pull down to cause it to refresh, synchronize it, and it brings in the data for the ECG. Okay, skipping ahead a little bit, it's done now, and it says you can view your ECG, and there it is. And I can expand it sideways. We can look at it right here. I can change the characteristics. It's really high right now. I can go down 10 if you just want the peaks. You have quite a bit of control on this one. I can download this whole thing as a PDF. I can send it off to my doctor. It's got an average 52 beats per minute heart rate. I can come back out of here. I can change the speed of it. We saw all this in the main app. I'm not going to belabor it, but all of this stuff is here. You'd hit save and so forth. You on this one, okay, remember the i7E, on this one I have the artificial intelligence agent that will assess that particular strip of ECG, and it will give me a determination based on its estimate of what it saw. And here I've got something. Oftentimes it just says it's a normal sinus rhythm, but it's also saying I've got atrial premature beat. I wouldn't know that, and I'm not sure what that means, but I take a screenshot of that, 3 fingers on the OnePlus 6T, and now I could email that to my doctor. I could take it in on my regular checkup and say, hey doc, my band told me I've got this. Could you look into it? Simple as that. It's just advisory information for your doctor. But it's built into this thing as an artificial intelligent agent. Again, it's only for information purposes. I got to continue to emphasize that. Don't self-diagnose. Don't diagnose yourself as having something, and by all means, don't diagnose yourself as being healthy and not having something, which is why I really, really get all over the Chinese companies that try to put out ECG charts, and they're fake. And there are some. You got to be careful. Watch our reviews. Don't pick those up because it's going to, quote, diagnose you as being fine because it gives you a fine fake ECG. This does not. This is giving you a real reading. The accuracy and interpretation of that is not you and not me, but it's a trained professional. Okay, that's this one. Let's switch to the other one. We're on the V19 now, and if I go into this, down to ECG, which is right here, long press and hold, and it says testing. And it's going to go through its overall testing process, but you can't see anything happening, so I'm not going to do it this way. It does calculate your heart rate. And if you're out and about and away from everything, then sure, you could do that in a pinch. However, it's much more convenient and effective if you go into the ECG section here and hit start testing from there. Now it's going to show you your live graph as you do it. I hit start. It says it's testing. All I got to do is make sure I put my finger on here. Watch the diagram. It's testing and it's showing you the percentage. If you notice, they're kicking off at about 1 a second. And so it's a 100-second test. There's the sine wave coming through, or sinus wave. You can see I got double things there. Maybe that was that premature atrial something or other going on. I don't know. They're all over the place. I'm noisy. I'm talking. I can prove this is real by wiggling it. The wiggle will show up now because there's a little time delay between the actual testing and the time it gets transmitted and displayed here on the app. But it is really, really there. I'm going to have a really bad reading because I'm just messing the heck out of it. But just to show you, you're getting a lot of information. You're getting your average heart rate, this QT interval, and heart rate variability, which is all over the board because you see the distance between the peaks is just jumping. I'm not being still and careful with it. I'll go ahead and let it run out to 100 just so we can see if it's even going to accept this. Even though it's continuing to work, I didn't take my finger off long enough to completely upset it and cause it to stop. I did mess around with it, and if it didn't get what it figures is a clean chart, it's going to bounce it, and it's going to say do it over again. And I really like that. So you're not going to be messing around with bogus information because you didn't do it right. It's gonna only keep what it really likes. Okay, we're at 99, 100. It liked it for what it is. I can add a remark on here. I can say save, and now it's there. And you actually can play it back, and just like this YouTube video, you can scoot it up anywhere you want. You can scoot it back. You can go to the place where you saw an anomaly. You could, of course, take a screenshot of that, whatever you'd like. You can delete it. You get all of this information, and it tells you about the medical explanation of each of these. Is that readable? You need it a little bit brighter. There you go. And the QT interval, that's what it's all about. That's the reference range, and HRV, and so forth. Okay, time of start, time of end. You could delete the record. You could export it there if you want to. There's all the basic stuff. You can't change the height like you can on the other one or the speed that it grows across the screen, but you have a lot more flexibility in working with it as an actual living, breathing, moving ECG chart. There we are. Health down here. Maintain correct gesture and get ready for test. This is the ECG test again. Full screen. I didn't even know that. Look at that. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's doing the same thing we just saw, only now it's in full screen. And it's just about to kick in, and there it goes. So I can show you what happens if you actually take your finger off long enough, it bounces out of it. So it's really assessing what's going on in its environment. When you come back here to this page, the ECG chart is shown right at the very beginning. If you have more than one, they accumulate. And of course, you can go back through previous days to look at ECG charts that you did in the past, like that one there, and so forth. So let's summarize. So these are the two choices right now on the market, the i7E, the V19. A little bit bigger overall screen, one button on the front guides you through everything. You got to swipe and touch and do a few more things to get this one to work. Both of them charge easily. We haven't covered that. This one you have to push in on the band to pull it off. And you've got your little charging pins that plug right into the USB port. This one, a little bit more rough. You got to actually pull it off. Comes right off, but same thing. Plug it in to charge it. You've seen everything about them now and what they can and can't do. They overlap considerably with each other. They complement each other. About $30 each, and who knows, maybe getting both of them. Use this one when you're going to do fitness. Use this one when you want a big screen to see, or sleeping at night for your sleep apnea and all of the other things associated with sleep. Really advanced technology, and really appreciate you sticking with us and watching the comparison of these two. Hope to see this technology come out on a lot more devices. In the meantime, it's out there right now. And if you know somebody that's 50 years or older, or if you are yourself, this is something worth checking out, because it really presents some new information we haven't had before, especially in the realm of the heart rate variability and the scatter diagrams that we've been looking at. Those, in and of themselves, are revolutionary new information. And it's something that you can collect night after night just simply by wearing it and seeing what the results are in the morning. Lots of reference material available, and down below, I'm going to have article after article after article to dive deeper into what this all is about. So if you really want to get educated on it, start there and pick up one of these little things for under $30 to test it all out. You have been watching Smartwatch Ticks. We're a YouTube channel on the web at smartwatchticks.com. You can get the BAKEEV V19 from Banggood, and you can pick up the ALFAWISE i7E from Gearbest, two of our top-notch sponsors. We have links for them both down below and coupon discounts, and please use those if you're going to get them. It helps us out, helps you out, and it helps them out too. All right, we'll see you back here again real soon. Thanks for watching.